They call it adult entertainment, but today on Joni, one former porn star is exposing it for what it is.
It is actual modern-day slavery happening in America, so we're out to expose that truth.
You'll be shocked.
They beat the girls, they force-feed them drugs.
You'll be appalled.
She has an STD, he has an STD.
You'll be angry.
And I want to tell the church to stop viewing pornography because they're contributing to wrecking these men and women's lives.
You'll never call it entertainment again. Next.
Make your day wonderful. Do it God's way. Ooh, yeah. Make it beautiful. Come on now. Ooh, bringing hope to the world every day.
Well, today we're going to discuss a very serious subject, sex in our nation, with a guest who has been with us before. Her previous appearance on our program really opened our eyes to the sad and disturbing dangers of pornography. Her heartbreaking story is as inspiring as it is compelling. Sexually abused as a child and addicted to drugs and alcohol, she became a prostitute, entered the porn industry, and sadly, she was eventually diagnosed with the sexually transmitted disease and was even suicidal. However, that is far from the end of this amazing woman's story. It gets better. Today, she's a loving wife and mother, a missionary to those trapped in the sex industry, and an advocate for all those abused and addicted to pornography. This program is not intended for young children, but it is information that every parent and teen needs. Today's guest, former porn star, Shelley Lubben.
Billions of dollars are spent each year on an industry that exploits women of all ages. An industry that demeans, destroys lives, ruins relationships, and causes great pain, addiction, disease, and emotional distress. For Shelley Lubben, it was all this and more. Prostitute, an exotic dancer by 18, and a porn star by 24. Addicted to drugs and alcohol, she was abused, neglected, raped, and contracted sexually transmitted diseases. Her life soon spiraled out of control, and she wanted to end it all. But today, her purpose in the porn industry is different. Now, instead of sharing her body, she shares her faith. A new woman, a new purpose, and a new life that is giving hope to all trapped in the porn industry today.
Please welcome back to the program the president of the Pink Cross Foundation, Shelley Lubben. How are you?
Good to see you.
Have a seat. Well, that's so exciting to see what all is happening and how God has taken this terrible thing that happened in your life and now using it for good.
Yes, it's very exciting.
So let's go back and recap for those of you that are watching today. Maybe you didn't see the show that I did with Shelley. Tell us a little bit about your story. What happened with you early on? You got involved in the porn industry?
Yes, I got involved in the porn industry. I was in the sex industry for a total of 8 years. Rebellious teenager.
How old were you, Shelley, when you started?
18.
18.
So I was actually pretty innocent. So when my father kicked me out of the house, grew up in a middle-class family. Next thing you know, I'm living on the street, and a pimp approached me, and that ultimately led to the porn industry.
Wow. Did you ever think growing up that you would be involved in something like that?
No way. I thought I was going to grow up to be a speaker and a preacher.
Really?
Yes, because that's what Jesus told me when I was little, so, and now I'm doing it. So
you just kind of went the long way around.
Yeah, I think he had a plan.
So one of the things we talked about is when you got involved in it, for those who have, maybe you have been addicted to porn, maybe you're a man and you're watching today and you have pornography that you watch on the internet, or, you know, I don't know what your history is, but we want to share a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes. And really how ugly, how dark it is. And I think if you hear some of what Shelley's going to share, you may think twice before you click on again and watch, because these are real individuals, people that God loves and has purpose for, that are involved in something that is destroying their lives. And so talk a little bit about that, Shelley. What goes on behind the scenes in the porn industry when they're taping those videos and, you know, people are interacting with one another and all kind of illicit acts?
Well, first of all, these women are somebody's daughters, and most of them come from broken homes or sexual abuse. Lack of parenting, lack of fathering is the #1 reason why they even get into the industry. After I've worked with them for quite a while in my own story, I realized what's getting them in. And once they're in, basically they're told to sign a 1-year contract by agents who are also pimps. And basically they're told you're only going to do like a certain kind of scene, but then after a while they show up to the scene. Like one girl that we know, she showed up and there were 75 men waiting for her outside. That was not even male talent. They were just men that had answered an ad in an LA magazine to come there in order to have a fantasy of doing whatever they wanted to a porn star. And so all these girls are basically slaves. It's modern day slavery going on in the porn industry, which the capital is actually in California, about an hour south of my house. So, and that's where 80% of the world's porn is actually made. So many of the people live there, and they're forced every day into long hours.
80% of the porn
is actually made there.
Where? What city?
Chatsworth, California.
In Chatsworth, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So most of the porn stars live there, and the things they go through on the set are long hours. It's actually illegal in the state of California for bodily fluids to touch skin, and yet it happens every single day. So they never follow any of the adult film industry standards, which are given by the California Safety and Health Act. They beat the girls, they feed them, force feed them drugs. Drugs are always provided. You can get Vicodin as a huge drug, Xanax, alcohol, meth, cocaine, heroin is very big. And after a day of working with nothing but filth, bodily fluids, an unclean set, because all of the movies are done on private mansions, so there's nothing regulated about this industry. And so the girls there's no one there to protect them, there's no advocate. And that's why I'm so passionate, because I want to tell people this is the truth. So every time you click, you've just basically watched someone who's high and on drugs. She has an STD, he has an STD, because even their own clinic, which is run by the porn companies, the doctor admits that 66% of them have herpes. About 28% are chlamydia and gonorrhea. And then HIV is also prevalent, as well as staph infections, yeast infections. I mean, they're sick. So basically, if you're viewing porn, you're watching people who are mentally ill, addicted to drugs, and physically sick from STDs. And so when I go down there, I mean, the girls just come to me and go, oh my gosh, I got an STD, and now they're telling me I have herpes or HPV, and they're giving me drugs for it. And so I educate the girls and say, you know that this leads to cervical cancer, which I got cervical cancer and had to have part of my cervix removed. Really? And many of them had to have their whole cervix removed and can't even have children. So the damage to female reproductive system is definitely prevalent in the porn industry.
Wow. So when you first got involved, Shelley, and you stayed involved, did you say for 8 years?
8 years in the sex industry, total 2 years in the porn industry.
Okay. So what is the difference between those two?
Well, at least in prostitution, you get a nice dinner. You know, porn, and also you can basically make your own rules, and after a while you have your own clients. I mean, it's still terrible, but I had no idea getting on the porn set how degrading, how embarrassing. There's people standing around while you're making a movie, and you can imagine what they're doing while you're making the movie. And also, you're forced to do like certain scenes. If you cry and you ruin the scene, they'll smack you, they'll hit you, remake you do the scene. Oftentimes, girls are forced to do things that causes them to vomit. So they're vomiting, and then they're yelling again and saying, okay, get a new girl because now she's made a mess. And so then they'll go to a girl and say, no, you're going to do this scene too. And she goes, no, I'm not scheduled for that. He goes, I don't care. If you want to be paid, you're doing the scene. And this goes on every single day in the porn industry. It is actual modern day slavery happening in America, and no one knows about it. So we're out to expose that truth and out to get laws changed. I just went to state capitol recently, and I actually went in on the same day that the adult industry was lobbying. We went in and ruined their parade. And we
So
actually...
tell me about that. What
That
happened?
was fun, I have to say. Stomping on the devil is so much fun. So anyways, we didn't know what the heck we were doing, but the Holy Spirit said go. And so we heard they were lobbying, and basically they go in and tell lawmakers how wonderful it is, and they make porn stars go, yeah, I really enjoy it, you know? And so it's really just kind of their...
It's all a big lie
puppets.
because it's all about money.
Well, and plus
right?
the pornographers on the side going, yeah, and tell them how you really enjoy it. So then we went in and we talked with, I knew one lawmaker because I had actually testified in court for him last year. And so he kind of opened the door for me and got me to talk to senators and assembly makers, not just staffers, and they were in shock. And they said, you know what, look for new bills next year. So I'm excited.
So were they really surprised? I mean, as far as what goes on?
One of them was crying.
When you started telling them, what
they
really
literally
went
were
on?
like, wow, are you telling me that they do this and they hurt the girls and that the girls can't get out of contracts and they're threatened all the time? Like, yeah, they're 18 years old, so they don't know anything. If they're told you have to do this scene, and I brought a couple of the girls to talk about the scenes that they would be doing. Some of the times they're not tested, and then they can't get out of it, or they're threatened, sued. And so they don't know when they're 18 what to think, like, okay, they're gonna sue me, they're threatening me, and they're gonna hurt me, and so I have to stay in. So I go down there and go, no, you don't. Mama is in town. And
yes.
And I'm telling the truth about this industry to lawmakers, and they said they're gonna do something about it. So I hold them accountable.
Have you been threatened by any of the...
I said, come to my house, come get me. You'll get zapped by the Holy Spirit. And you do.
That's right.
My address is on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, God has really given me a spirit of boldness and just being fearless. And after being in the sex industry 8 years, I'm pretty
Yeah.
you know? And I'm tired of seeing this happen, and God has called me to go in there. Someone's got to do something about this. And I want to tell the church that they need to stop viewing pornography because they're contributing to wrecking these men and women's lives.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like contributing to wrecking your own child's life.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And people in the church are viewing pornography.
Oh, about 70% of men view pornography, and I think about 25% of women admitting, the ones that admit it. I get thousands of emails a week from people. I'm 32 years old. I've been viewing porn for 20 years. I'm a Christian. I'm addicted to porn. I'm 44 years old. My wife doesn't know. I'm a pastor. I'm 56 years old. Nobody knows. It's like I'm the internet priest. Yeah. And then I just got ordained as a chaplain, so now I really am a priest. So they, you know, I know it's a huge problem, and we want to do something about it.
Well, I agree with you, Shelley, and we're so proud of you, you know, because, you know, Shelley, she's really delivered from the pains of her past. When we come back, we hear how she's being used to help others do the same. More with Shelley after the break.
When life doesn't make sense, surrender all. You can find help and hope. Surrender All, Joni Lamb's new eye-opening book, walks you along the path that can change your life forever. If you're alone, hurting, confused, or just want more from life, Surrender All is your answer to living with peace, power, and purpose. This life-changing book, Surrender All by Joni Lamb, is now available everywhere books are sold or at daystar.com. Last year, thousands of women were refreshed. But this year at the Omni Hotel, it's not just the women that will be set free. The 8th Annual Refreshing Times Conference is back. Join Rhonda Davis, Mike Hayes, Fred and Anna Kendall, and Marcus Lamb for Daystar's biggest event of the year. August 20th through the 22nd are the dates to save. Call now and reserve your spots today.
Because of the epidemic of sexual sexually transmitted diseases, drugs, prostitution, and abuses found in the so-called adult entertainment industry. Shelley and her husband Garrett founded the Pink Cross Foundation, a nonprofit organization to offer emotional and financial support to those who want out, as well as counseling for those who are addicted. Well, this is really a mammoth task. I mean, do you feel like you're making a dent, or?
I'm starting to laugh. I'm like, you don't even understand how mammoth it is. It
I know
has to
this
be
is
God.
how billions of dollars, industry.
Yes.
I mean, it's huge.
About $12 billion in America, and I think about $32 billion worldwide. And it affects the world. Like, it emails from all over the world, and I think this is way too big for one little girl. And that's where God says, well, that's because it's not you doing it. You're just a vessel. And my husband's right there with me, and I have a great team. People are rising up and joining us, and we're helping those who are struggling with porn. We have a website where we have like online forums and kind of an online recovery center. And then over here we have a group of women who go out, and we actually go to the porn conventions now, and they even let us in. And I even go in with a big banner that says porn is not glamorous, and they invite us back. This is amazing. That would have to be God.
It really is. Well, Shelley's dedicated to helping as many as she can to get out of the same trap she was in. So let's take a look.
To all the people who donated to Joy's recovery, a huge thank you. I know she's very grateful. And you have made a huge difference in her life and many other lives, because a lot of other women are watching her recover and are coming to us for help now, because you've been a shining example. And I'm so proud of you. A lot of you don't even know what Julie went through to get to where she's at today, but I guarantee you she worked really hard. And so I know God's going to bless her.
So tell us the story behind this young girl.
Well, that's Julie, formerly known as Harrison, and I just started going on MySpace and going after them. I wrote hundreds of porn stars and told them, you should just check out my MySpace and keeping it cool, Don't want to be too, because they don't like religion.
Yeah.
They're angry with God right now. And so I just started loving them and reaching out to them and offering to meet them, and she took the bite. And I went down to the valley where they're all at, and I just loved on her and just gave her hope. And next thing you know, she just said, I want out. And so I helped her, like we help her, like she didn't really know how to do an interview, so she needed a little help with me, like confidence building and how to fill out application, how do you fill out work history when you've done porn for 5 years. And she actually had a baby girl and left her for 5 years and hadn't raised her. So after about a year of her stabilizing her life and working a regular job and seeking God and loving Jesus and getting to know Him, we finally sent her back home to her parents, where now today she is home raising her child.
Oh,
and so it's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. So that is just so exciting to hear those kinds of stories. Tell us a couple of the other stories of girls that you've been able to help.
Well, there's a couple of other beautiful women that I love very much. One of them is Jan, and she's actually one of my, I call her my general. She's standing there right there with me. She contacted me in, around October 2007, and she was a single mother of 3 kids, and I went, wow, And we were just so new starting out. So it's just really hard when you didn't have the resources. We still are so new. We're trying to get resources to help these women, but I just became her friend and sister and encouraged her and ministered to her, and she just became on fire for the Lord. And ultimately, God just kept moving in her life, and then she ended up just joining me in the cause, because it was just one little voice, and nobody believed me. And then I got other voices, and then people started listening, and so she joined me in the cause, and she's awesome. A powerful woman of God. And so she's come to all the conventions with me, and we're just sitting there, we call each other, that's terrible, we call each other the herpes twins.
Oh no.
We're really bad when we talk to porn fans. We really want to shock them and wake them up, because she caught genital herpes and I did too. God did heal me from my genital herpes, so I'm totally healed from that. Even though it's a non-curable disease, yes, Jesus Christ is the great physician and healer. And so we're praying for her too. So everyone pray for Jan, because God's going to heal her too of that. In fact, I think he might have already. I think we were talking the other day, and that she felt like she was healed. And so she just comes to the porn conventions, and then she'll reach out with me to other women. Another woman who contacted me, her name is Tammy. She's awesome, and she just became a new Christian months ago. She got out in February of '08, and then I went down, and she just needs support. You know, mainly they just need support and friendship, and I mean, is there anyone who understands? So we became great friends, and then she accepted Christ later on. At first, I just kind of went, well, I don't want to push religion down her throat, so I'm not going to talk about Jesus too much. I'm just going to be Jesus. And that's the secret, is just loving them and just showing them the joy of the Lord and listening and being their friend. And so she's saved now. She met Christ, and she's on fire for Christ.
So for those who are watching today, and we're visiting with Shelley Lubben, who had once been involved in the sex industry as a prostitute and then got into pornography. How did you get out? Give us a little quick version of that.
Well, I prayed all the time because I knew Jesus. So it's really hard to be in the porn industry and know Jesus. Yeah. He would actually come on the porn sets and just weep in the corner. And so he followed me everywhere. And so I just prayed.
So you sensed his presence.
Oh, yeah.
You knew he loved you. You knew he was pursuing you.
I kept telling him, why is this happening to me? And he would just weep. And you know, a lot of times God just won't explain why for that, because there's a grander purpose later. And so I ended up catching genital herpes, burned by the porn industry, which devastated me. And
so what do you mean by that? You got burned by the porn industry?
No one told me I was going to catch an STD. They don't educate you. They just show you the glamour, how much money you're going to make.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm 41 years old, and I just recently had another surgery in order to really stop some female problems. There's still some scars left. God's done a lot of healing in my life, but things to cause me to have compassion for others and to continue to reach out. He's allowed that. Yeah. So, you know, and then my husband came into my life right at the same time, and it was just like this godly Christian man, a pastor's son, wants to marry a porn star, and that's a whole other show.
That's amazing. And y'all have been together now how long?
14 years. Since we got married February 14th, 1995.
Yeah.
So he's my Valentine's sweetheart.
He's your knight in shining armor.
Yes, yes.
And so how did you actually get out? I mean, you got the herpes, but is that when you decided I can't stay in this any longer, or what?
Well, when he came along and just said, I'm going to rescue you, you're going to get out, and I didn't really want to get married because I was so black-hearted. I'm like, I didn't trust men, I hated men, but I thought, well, if he wants to marry some lady with herpes, he goes, just trust God, Shelley. Everything will be fine. I'm like, and I had a daughter from prostitution, so I was kind of desperate. I was desperate. Yeah. And so I just literally lost everything. I didn't work anymore, and I got my car repoed. I lost everything, even my clothes, everything, and he just married me.
So he was the real key for you.
He was the real key that I had prayed, and God had sent me, not who I would have chosen, because I wasn't in love with him. I just married him because he was a nice man. I figured he could take care of me. I was so tired.
Yeah.
The women are so tired.
Yeah, yeah.
You get tired after 8 years.
But you did fall madly crazy in love with him.
Yes. I told God, change him, and God says, no, we're going to change you. So my
You
heart
have to
started
read,
changing.
by the way, I don't know if you've read Francine Rivers' book,
Oh, I have. Redeeming Love. Yes.
Hello.
That's our story. If you want to know our story, just read Redeeming Love.
That is such an amazing story. I'm thinking about that while you're talking about your husband.
How do you know my story? Because that's exactly how I was. I pushed him away, and I kept pushing, and next thing you know, and then I would threaten to go back to the sex industry, but then God just kept working, and we stayed in church. That was another key. I was in a really good wisdom teaching church. It literally taught me wisdom. So and to know Christ and to trust him and all these things. My parents never taught me all this, and it was just like a new beginning for me. And
wow. Well, Redeeming Love is such a story, and of course, you said it's your story, but it is the story of Hosea. And Hosea is representative of Jesus, who pursues us, and how, you know, Hosea was, you know, married to the unfaithful wife. And so many times we as the bride of Christ are so unfaithful, but God continues to pursue us. And like Shelley said, he'll even go to the corner of the room if you're involved in pornography and weep for you because he loves you so very much. But we have to take a short break. We'll be back with some final advice on how to break free from the addiction of pornography and what we can do to help those working in the industry today. Stay right where you are.
I got on my knees at church and I cried and I prayed to God. I said, God, please show me there's another way. There has to be another way for me. Now I'm free of porn movies, not making any porn, and I'm so happy to say that. And I'm here with the Pink Cross Foundation at AVN and passing out gifts to other porn stars and giving love to everyone happily with the Holy Spirit near me. And this is the greatest day of my life right now. I'm so blessed. I'm crying now because I'm so blessed. To God, all things are possible. And this is my testimony.
Today, we remember. Today, we are grateful. Today, we are safe because of what they have done. This Memorial Day, the Joni Show and the Daystar Television Network celebrate the courage, the sacrifice, and dedication of all those in our armed forces who have paid and continue to pay the ultimate price for our freedom.
Well, a former prostitute, stripper, and porn star, Shelley Lubben, has one very sobering message for those who believe pornography doesn't hurt anyone. Besides those abused in the sex industry, Shelley says the mission of the pornographer is to completely destroy you and your family through their ability to lure you, support your addiction, and make a profit off of it. But there is something we can do to put a stop to it, and what is that?
First of all, stop viewing porn through the power of Jesus Christ. It is totally possible.
Yes.
If he can heal a porn star and turn her into a mom, a soccer mom who drove a minivan and
a preacher,
a computer programmer, there's many things that God can do. There's nothing impossible with him. A porn addiction gets worse and worse. They want harder and grosser porn, and pretty soon you're committing sex crimes, and then you're in jail and you're thinking, I wish I had told somebody. So, and if I can get honest and go in front of a church every Wednesday and Sunday and ask for prayer, then so can you.
Yeah, that's good, Shelley. Well, don't we appreciate Shelley and the ministry that she's doing? We really do. That's all the time we have for today, but our Sex and Our Nation series continues tomorrow. If you need prayer, that's what we're here for. I want you to be encouraged today and really think about, what the people in those images are going through behind the scenes. Think about the struggle associated with it. And maybe that can be the thing that can propel you to turn it off and to say, you know what, I'm not going to be a part of this. I'm not going to support something that's destroying people's lives. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for today.
This has been a Daystar Television production.